we're going to explore the chi-squared test Shiny app, specifically the tests for independence and homogeneity, as well as how to use it for chi-squared goodness of fit testing. Now be sure you're in the right section of the app depending on what you're looking for. Much like with other types of the apps we've used this semester, you can enter your individual observations. You can use a contingency table, which is often one of the easiest way to enter the data. Once you add in your category labels, then you can just click in these boxes and type in the different numbers. So you'd have to fill this whole thing in before it fills the rest of this chart out. For illustrative purposes, I'm going to use the textbook data and just leave it at airline flight status. So one of the first things I would recommend doing is check this box that says show expected cell counts so you can more easily compare the observed values to what you would have expected to see if there's major discrepancies. Maybe you want that raw data without just looking at the test statistic, though the test statistic will in fact be one of the most helpful things here. You'll notice it now gives us the expected cell counts. At the top you have observed. So this is what we observed that actually happened. So for example, American had 95 diverted flights based on the time in which this data was collected. However, we're saying we would have only expected 72.2 of those to have been diverted from American. So in this case, they diverted more flights than we would have expected, whereas Southwest was a little bit closer to their observed and expected number. And then Delta was far below. They only had 56 diverted flights, whereas we expected 84.7. This can also be looked at. Remember, this is with respect to that conditional distribution. So this is telling us the proportions essentially that we would have expected. I'd say the most important pieces are going to be your observed and your expected values. Now in this app, the other component that you want to look at is your test statistic, and then, well, I guess the other two components, and your p-value. So these two things are going to tell us a lot about the comparison between observed and expected. So what is this telling us? When you're testing chi-squared, if you were testing something for either independence or homogeneity, then you're looking to see if there is a connection between those variables. Again, depending on what kind of test you're looking for. So this would either confirm your suspicion or it would tell you that there is no connection necessarily between them. Now, getting more into goodness of fit testing, remember goodness of fit is actually saying, did what we expect happen in practice? So for goodness of fit testing, I'm going to click over here. You could change this. There's a few samples that are already in here, or you could enter your own contingency table if you prefer. Now, when you go through this, your results are going to tell you if the observed matches the expected outcomes. So what you thought was going to happen, you're actually saying, did that actually happen? Yes or no? And you can determine that with your test statistic and more specifically the p-value. Thanks for watching.